Hello everyone, welcome to Beneath the Impact podcast. Here we talk about stories of change and everything that pertains how we can create solutions, especially in the communities that we serve. And today I'm having my good friend Argie. Yeah, so basically today we are continuing from that episode which we did on solutions that stick. If you hear the term solution that sticks, what comes to mind?
It's one beyond problem solving, right? Yes, you have a problem, you solved it, but what is the ecosystem around this problem? Because we don't solve problems in vacuums or create solutions in vacuums.
So basically what we mean by solutions that stick, sometimes within the solutions we find that we have a good idea, we have a program that we try to run within the communities or have a product that we want to sell, but most of the time it's not really accepted with the users, or even if the acceptance is there, it fades over time as well. So this day we want to see one strategy that we can use at least to make it more sticky, or rather it becomes on the long run. So it's more or less on the concept of code design, and Argie is very experienced on this as well. So it's a discussion. And Argie, I think you can introduce yourself again.
Yeah, thank you, Dennis, and I'm happy to be here again. Yes, so I know. Well, I'm Argie Muriuki for those who are watching for the first time, and I am a solution mapping expert, and I deal with human-centered design, systems thinking, and just really creating solutions that are very impactful in our communities, in our societies, both nationally and also globally. And yeah, today, just like Dennis has mentioned, we are going to be deep diving under the co-design approach, so that, we can have solutions that stick, and also not only stick, but also are really impactful to the communities that we want to serve, and understanding them, their context, so that even when we leave, the solutions remain, and they're really part of the day-to-day activities of the community. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Argie.
Yeah.
Maybe let's push away the jargons and everything. So what is co-design? And we can start with that, because most people will hear co-design and might think it's a very hard thing, because there's a core and a design aspect.
Yeah.
But let's break it down in terms of what do we mean by co-design?
So when I think about co-design, I think about collaboration, working together to achieve something, right?
Yeah.
And we can use an analogy. It can be, when we want to have an event and we have these different, stakeholders come in, maybe the planner, someone who is bringing the mic, someone who is bringing the decor, etc. Yeah. So we are working together so that we can achieve something. With co-design, especially in a, social impact space, it would be us as designers, consultants, the people who are working, really go down to the communities and actually work with the community. It's not a power play per se, but it's just more of collaboration where we are designing with them, right? Rather than designing for them, right? Yeah, so I know semantics there, but it's very heavily founded in collaboration, really working with the community, different stakeholders, different representatives in the community, so that we can achieve impact or the outcome that is desired.
Yeah. I think that takes me back to the other episode which you are talking about gender, and you are questioning about the whole concept of empowerment, because that means you have power to give to them.
Yeah.
The minute you see yourself as being in a place of empowering another person, there's already a power dynamic there, right? Because it suggests that I have power to give to Argie, But in reality, I think that's not the case. I think there is inherent intrinsic power that the women and girls that we work with have.
But co-design also brings out the aspect of bringing out the power that the people living within the communities have, and also
Yeah.
their experiences and how they do things. So you
Yeah.
embed your solution on how you do things together.
Yeah, because we don't want to change our way of living, right?
Yeah.
We just want to see how can we, really look at their lived experiences, what they're saying, because they also have their own agency.
Yeah.
We said, I remember when we were starting, we said that the people closest to the problems are the ones who are closest to the solution as well. So giving them that platform for us to work together and collaborate during the whole process. It's not only when we have solutions we are taking down to them, no, but it's more of from scoping problem, understanding the problem, we're understanding the problem together, and just getting in their insights and just showing them that also they are drivers of the change that they want to see.
Awesome. So maybe we can look in terms of key principles that drive the co-design aspect. So what are these key principles? I understand, or rather, I can start throwing rubbers in in there. So basically, things such as empathy and active listening. As a principle, what is the importance of that empathy, active listening from your experience here?
One thing that we talk about when talking about empathy is just understanding that you do not have the answers or all the answers. Yeah, you might have background research that you've done that gives you kind of an understanding of what the problem is, but taking that and using that as your assumptions, right? And going really to the community that you want to solve for, because most of our solutions really occur in context, yeah? And sometimes you might overlook some of the different principles or some of the different things that happen within a community or even a setup, and feel like, oh, because you've done, thorough desktop research, we know everything to do with, for example, youth unemployment in Kenya. Yeah, and Kenya is still quite broad, because when you go down even to our different, the rural areas, the urban areas, the challenges, yes, for example, it might be youth unemployment, but the challenges might be a bit different. So with empathy, you are really, understanding the needs that are there, the community needs that are there, letting go of your own assumptions and really trying to listen and use them to validate, some of the things that you've read or some of the things that you think were problems, right? And also, at this point, you're also giving agency to the people that you're solving for, because they now feel like they're part of the process. When we, just a practical example on how we build empathy, going down and maybe as a researcher, and you know more about this, you go, for example, with your discussion guide. What do you want to achieve? What are the objectives? And what are the questions that you'll need to ask? So based on even your discussion guide should actually really be more of, you want to learn, rather than just ticking questions, yeah? And just to, validate a hypothesis or also invalidate it. And this now will really help you get to understand the problem, yeah? So, like we've said, we're not going to empower them. We don't know better than them, right? But we are trying to listen to them to just give us the information that they have, the challenges, the experiences, so that this can inform how we look at the solution. I think I was watching a TED Talk early on, I think a couple of years ago, which really stuck. And it was just about, they're really looking at the book from Damisa Moyo, The Dead Aid, just talking about, the first world countries were coming in to support the third world countries, and how at that point they didn't take into consideration context, right? So they brought in solutions, they were the experts, they were the everything, but the solutions did not stick because they didn't really listen to the communities that they found on the ground. Yeah, so empathy is quite key, and just having that, and like you've said, active listening will really help in unearthing this motivation, not only needs, motivation, pain points, right? To really look at the problem from a whole different perspective.
Yeah, sure. I think that's quite crucial. And so maybe I'll jump into the next one on sharing the steering. Because sometimes I think we love to think we know best and also empower the others. But now the aspect of power sharing, especially with the people that we serve, how is it a crucial principle within that aspect? Yeah.
Yeah, so like you've said, like we're sharing in the aspect of co-design, we have a lot of collaboration, right?
Yeah.
And it's not collaboration on paper that you are bringing the solutions to them and then, what do you think about this? And that is collaboration, no? Like you said, giving them a platform to just talk about their issues, their voices, giving them the platform to amplify their own voices, number one. And also looking at, they already know the problem that they are facing.
Yeah.
They do, right?
Yeah.
So having them come speak out and also explore, their thinking around this problem, understanding the why behind this problem that is there, right? Because more often than not, you'd find that we rush to have solutions. You'd think, let's create this strategy. It's going to solve everything, right?
Yeah.
But once you go and understand the problems that a particular group is facing and how they view that problem and how that problem is actually affecting their day-to-day lives, you'd find that you'll get a lot of information. And also, other than getting that information, you're giving them their own agency because they can speak about what they're going through. And they can also look at, okay, so for me as a young person in Kenya, these are some of the interventions that I'll need to help me secure work. Yeah. So having that sort of collaboration and open-mindedness would really help us in understanding the problem deeper. We always talk about the 5 whys, really getting to the root of the problem and solving that rather than just band-aid or just solving the things that we can see. Let's solve the root of the problem, and we can only do that while, we are empathetic and also given the groups or the community that we are serving the agency to really talk about the problem and understand it properly.
Yeah. I think that's quite crucial. And as you talk about the collaboration aspect, also it takes me to the third principle, which is basically it's a journey.
Oh, yeah.
It's not it's not
Yes,
a one-time
it
thing, because some people start with the co-design aspect, especially when designing solutions, but when implementing they rub it off. So basically, maybe how the aspect of it being a journey itself and taking the steps over time. So in terms of when you have implemented, iterating the solutions together with the people that you work with, and also aspect of after you have completed the program, sitting down with them and asking them, has it worked? Or what can we change? Or what aspects did you find quite well? Because sometimes we create a solution and that solution creates a new problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Any thoughts onto that as well?
Yeah. First, it's not linear. It's not a linear journey. I have, based on experience, this is not linear at all. Yeah. And one thing that we need also to do is embrace ambiguity. We might get in there and feel like we know, now we really understand, but then you are back to, empathizing again or asking more questions to understand, right? Yeah. And there's no problem with that. And as you embrace that ambiguity, you understand that this is quite an iterative process. It's a process where you'll need to go back to the community, and just be with them. Sometimes you can have the whole, because you're moving from the boardroom to the, to the field, Sometimes you really need to spend a lot of time in the field before you go back to your boardroom to, create or have these solutions. But for me, it's quite a humbling experience, number one, because one thing, it makes you not hold tight to preconceived solutions. So what you need to do is like really ensure that you understand that, yes, this is how I'm looking at it, but let me just keep on going back. Yeah, I don't need to just go and implement and then the solution creates another problem, like you've said, but really embody that iterativeness and also flexibility. You need to be very agile to understand, okay, yes, I thought this would work, or I thought that I understood it from this perspective, but how can I incorporate the new perspective that I'm hearing or the new perspective that I'm getting? Another thing is that a disclaimer, we can't solve for everything.
Yeah.
Yes. As we are understanding the problem, as we are also empathizing, one thing that it really supports is in defining what exactly is the problem. Because you'd see, okay, this is the problem. I don't think I have the resources, the capacity to do it.
Yeah.
So you can go back and say, can I build more collaboration? Do I need to, have more stakeholders come in and listen to their perspectives? Because another thing, you are not only looking at the problem in terms of who the problem affects only. You're looking at the whole ecosystem. Who are the closest people to those who are being affected by the problem? Who is benefiting from this problem being there? Who is actually doing something already in the space, right? So that when you go down there, you are really open and flexible to understand, this might be a bit out of scope for the work that we are doing, but we can start building collaborations. We can start building relationships with other organizations who can come in, or and it also helps you to manage expectations to some extent, right?
Yeah.
And also really work together with the community or the people that you are actually serving. Yeah.
That's quite crucial. I think also we can go deeper into that, especially looking on how can we co-design in real life, moving out of all these theories.
Yeah.
So I think the last principle, which is quite crucial, and I think which is at the center of all these other principles, the other four, it's the respect for lived experiences, because people who have that experience are the ones who know where it bites them, or rather where the shoe is not fitting.
Yeah.
So basically, all in all, we should be respecting the people's lived experiences and seeing how we can work around those lived experiences and incorporate them within the program, or rather within the thing that we are designing for.
Yeah, very, very true. Because if we do not account for the lived experiences that are there, we might not really be solving. We may not even get the buy-in. To really solve with the community. So just understanding that they're lived and they're different. We talk about, I know even in the previous episodes, we've really been talking about intersectionality. We're not homogeneous people. We might even be coming from the same community, but we might not be homogeneous in terms of how the problem affects us, right? But it's quite important to understand, are there things that we need to look into, things to do, are there gender-related undertones in the problem, right? Are there economic-related undertones in the problem, right? And how can we ensure that everyone feels that they are part of this, process? Because when we leave a group out, we are creating a new problem, and that is really discrimination. So how can we ensure that we are really understanding the different lived experiences, and how do these lived experiences now influence our programming or the solutions that we are going to create, And like you said, I know right now it might look theoretical, but as we go on, we'll give real life examples of based on our own experiences, and also even based on some of our guests will be coming in to just really show, how are they incorporating the co-design approach into their own work and into how they are achieving impact.
That's quite crucial. And maybe we can now leave the the theory and think of actual steps in terms of when we think of co-design, what should we do? So the first step, which I really think it's the first one, or rather should be the first one, is what you had mentioned, to scope what problem we are thinking of. And by scoping, it means to understand which problem are you, or rather, what's the objective of this co-design workshop in the relation to the problem that we have. So if it's when you are defining the problem, maybe the first aspect will be to understand the problem. And I think one thing that you have shared, and I will reiterate here, is maybe to think of what is the problem statement. We have this tool called problem framing canvas, which I love using, which has like the problem statement, also looks in terms of the 5 whys, or rather, is there a problem behind the problem? The other aspect is to understand also this who is benefiting from this problem, who is facing the problem, who are other stakeholders, and to understand that also we can look in terms of that as well, and which type of problem is this as well, because we might have different kind of problem, need different kind of solutions. So with systems thinking, I think we have 4 main types of problems. So simple problems, whereby problem X causes problem causes this event Y. We have the complicated, we have chaotic problems. So to understand which problems we are facing as well, that canvas usually assists us too much.
And also, even just to build up on what you're saying, from experience, I noticed that sometimes we are very much in a rush to give the solution. And we need to spend this much time, on the problem, and this much time on the solution. So we really, really need to understand our problem deeply, because we need to know if we are solving the correct problem. And the only way we can know that is spending time on it, doing the quantitative research, the qualitative research, talking to people. Like you've said, now even the aspects of co-designing, it helps us really define this problem, and like you've just mentioned, right? And look at the different elements, right? Because you can have different tools that can bring out different perspectives that can help you look at the problem from more or less 360 kind of angle, which is quite important. We'd rather spend most of the time looking at the problem, and really trying our best to get it right at that point, so that we can create solutions that stick.
Yes, and especially from that problem statement, I think we usually have the how might we, the design opportunity, that also is the main driver for these co-design workshops as well, because it will be more or less now asking the participants how might we solve this issue. So the problem framing canvas, we can put the description, or rather within the description you can have a link to it. It's a very great tool that will assist you to frame the problem that you're looking for, and also get like the design opportunity that will be talking towards that co-design workshop as per se. So the next one is to recruit stakeholders, or rather the people who will be now within that workshop. What is your experience? I've seen you smiling about
reliving some experiences, some co-design workshops.
So what is the importance of having a diverse stakeholder within that co-design workshop? Or co-designs usually happen within a workshop or other things. Sessions. So what's the most important, or rather what is the importance of having diverse stakeholders?
Well, it's quite a good question. One, again, we all have different lived experiences, and we all have different ways the problem affects us, right? We know that the people at the center who are really affected by the problem, that we would want to solve, like we've said, but we've said that we have different people that influence their behavior, different people who, have power, there can be also decision makers in this, right? And we really need to ensure that we have diverse perspectives, when it comes to ensuring that we get a hold of also understanding what the problem is. Because one thing that I've seen from experience, when you have, for example, a co-design workshop, and you really focus it on one group, you miss every other information from the other. Most of the times you're going to miss it. Yeah? And when you're designing that solution, you'd find that the buy-in won't be there. It will be so hard to penetrate. You know the solution will really, really work. You've worked with the people who are closest to the solution, yes, but you'd find that there are barriers, So it's quite important to have a diverse stakeholder ecosystem that you're going to talk to, right? To ensure that you're also empathizing with them and getting to understand their point of view. Yeah? So that you know that with this, I can have this relationship. You can create a system. This is the loop that is going to ensure that this problem is actually getting solved, or this problem will stick, for example, or this solution rather would stick. Because with that, once you get the diverse perspectives, you're going to understand also their lived experiences, right? And also what they think the solution would look like, or what they think also the problem looks like. Yeah. So for us having, as designers or even as researchers, for us having those diverse perspectives really ensures that we have diversity in our, solutions, inclusion as well, right? Because we are looking at the different aspects of the different needs of the stakeholders, and also it will really help us understand, okay, who are we solving for? Who are we really solving for when it comes to this particular problem? So that even when it comes to our messaging, when it comes to communication, when it comes to even reaching to the different, enablers, we are very clear. This is the problem that we're solving. And these are the people that we're solving for, and these are some of the enabling, this is the enabling environment that will be required to ensure that these solutions stick, and will be impactful.
So I think one aspect maybe most of our listeners will be like is, how do we go about identifying the stakeholders who we are talking about? So we have this tool called socio-ecological model that can assist us. It's used for other purposes, but sometimes I usually use in terms of identifying the different stakeholders. So at the center, I usually start with the people who is facing the challenge, people with those lived experience having that challenge. Then the next layer would be the people who they relate towards most. So people, by this it means personal relationships. Think of family members, think of friends, think of colleagues. So basically, who does this person have a personal relationship with and probably go to, especially when they face this problem? So it's not just a relationship, but it's a relationship, and also they look for advice to them, or rather assistance, or some sort of assistance for them to assist them to face this problem, or rather to face this challenge which they have. Then after that, we have we usually live within some sort of institutions and community organizations. So which organization is this person in? So for example, we are looking in terms of religious organizations, churches, mosques, temples. Which organization am I affiliating towards? If we are looking in terms of farmers, they have what do we call them? Farming groups, for example. What do we call them? The cooperatives.
The cooperatives are there,
which are they in there. Then we have the last layer, which is to think about the community as a whole. So experts who can give you aspects in terms of the community norms. So this can be leaders, the community leaders, the chiefs, and maybe even traditional leaders, elders within that community, and also maybe the government administrative aspect to tell you about the rule of law.
Exactly.
And the policies which are within that space as well. So having that diverse, that I think social ecological model can assist you to think and brainstorm who are these stakeholders I should reach out to, and maybe include them within this community. this co-design workshop. Yeah.
You know, you've said that, and I've remembered like an experience that I had a couple of years ago, and I was working on. We were working on building a solution around how we can support, working moms, or to exclusively breastfeed their infants for 6 months. And in Kenya, the maternity leave is 3 months. So how can we really support them within these 3 months to continue exclusively breastfeeding their infants? And just like you are mapping it out, in my head I was just thinking of the work that we did back then, where we had the mothers was in the middle, were trying to solve for them. How can we ensure that they do exclusive breastfeeding for their infants? But other than the mothers, we talked to, their partners. We talked to, their family.
Their mother, for example.
Their friends.
Yeah.
And then we went, so the ones who are very, very close. We also talked to their house managers, those who are helping them raise the babies. And then we went a step further and talked to the communities, the communities that the mothers are in, right? It can be church community, it can be. So we had representatives from those communities. Then went to the workplace also, because the mom is coming back to the workplace. So how are we ensuring that our workplaces will ensure that the mothers continue, right? And then after the workplaces, going to, other than the work employees, that they work with, the HR, those who are making decisions at the workplace. How can we ensure, what is happening? Is it that when the mothers come back, they still have their, targets, or is it flexi working hours, And then after that, we went even to the Ministry of Health, to understand, and also the Ministry of Labor, just even having all those stakeholders, so that when we are designing this solution for our mothers, we are not designing it in a silo only for them, but ensuring that, we have looked at all the other aspects that are surrounding for them to have a favorable outcome, which was exclusively breastfeeding their infants. It was a really interesting research experience, and again, you really understand that you do not have all the answers.
I think since I knew social ecological model, I usually love it because it helps you to do it like an onion.
Yeah, exactly. Just peeling it.
Just peeling it, and also it helps you to, as a model, to think and even prepare for your research, prepare for co-design workshops, such things. So for co-design workshops, we usually advocate also for participatory methods, so that it's not boring per se. So we throw away, because from a research perspective, when we talk about participatory, we usually talk about how do we participate with the participants. But in the good thing in terms of HCD aspect, we have the tools which we can use. So I'll jump again into one tool which I love so much, journey maps.
Journey maps are amazing.
So journey maps, and especially playing in a co-design workshop, whereby maybe you have mapped the journey and look in terms of lived experience. Maybe let's have a back step anyway. What is a journey map? Anyway,
in layman's term, completely to just make sure you're not making it very heavy with jargon. A journey map just maps the day-to-day activities of the person that you want to design for. Think of it, if we can just even think of the mother that we're solving for example. What does she do? What time does she wake up? What does she do when she wakes up? Especially because we are really looking at her going back to work, right? And her infant. So what are all these things that she does before she gets out of the house? And then from the house, does she drive herself? It can be just the simplest of things. Does she go with a mat? She stays, in the Nairobi jam or everywhere jam for this type of hours. She goes to work, she has a break at this time. So we really need to understand the end-to-end process of how a day in a life, just like a day in a life, right, of our user, to understand the whole experience, and then now, other than just understanding that, look at, okay, what does she feel? What is she thinking? What's her mood like, right? For example. And we do that for all our, the people that you want to solve for, so that you understand, okay, so where exactly is the biggest pain point? Yeah. Where is the biggest pain point? And someone once told me where the biggest pain point is, that is where you need to solve for. Yes. Yeah. But based on your experience, how does journey mapping look like for you?
It's quite good, especially in co-design workshops. I recall we did one, creating a sanitary product in Ethiopia. And we did one journey mapping experience whereby we had all these participants in there. And the good thing about having the different, within a co-design session, the different stakeholders who are there, they will, we have this, because the sanitary product was to be used with a mother or other caregiver, so of an infant child. So you have to think of when does an infant child have, or rather need to use the different sanitary product itself. And one, I recall during that mapping day in a life, and it wasn't even the mother who mentioned, it was the father. Who mentioned that we usually have sleepless nights because we don't have, they did not use the sanitary product, they used t-shirts because of cost and etc. They used like old clothes actually to cover the baby so that they don't have to go out during the night. And the father entered like the most terrifying time is at night. It wasn't the mother even, because the baby will start crying because of irritation and etc. And they would have less sleep time and quality of sleep. And then it was one good, especially in terms of reaching out to fathers and also mothers. It was one messaging that we tried to incorporate because that's where the pain point is. And during the night, maybe you'll have good quality sleep. Because during the day, they mentioned it is easy for them to take the baby to outside. They can see because there is electricity, but at night, it's quite hard for them to navigate. So they had to look for alternatives. So the journey map, as you mentioned, it showed us where that pain point is. And I usually advocate for us, not just, for example, the mother, the case which you are mentioning for breastfeeding aspect, usually love to do journey mapping in different point of views. So basically having a point of view of a day in a life, maybe a month in the life. So for example, mother's breastfeeding aspect in the first month when she's a new mother, especially for new mothers, how is it like for them? Because maybe they do not know how to breastfeed, and also the emotions that comes with it. But also after they have started working, because they have 3 months maternity leave, after they start working, how is the breastfeeding like, especially after that? And that aspect also, the employer needs to be there to
understand,
first to understand, but also to give their perspective. Because the employer perspective might be, we need this person to complete their targets. They have not been in 3 months, so the work has piled. But we need them to complete the targets, because the targets is what brings money in, for example. So to understand all those different perspectives, having everyone within that room to discuss and have all this perspective can give you also like ideas on how to solve, but also they can give you solution, and maybe we can incorporate flexi working hours, whereby you come up to 2 p.m., then after 2 you go to cater for your baby, but maybe light work or something of that sort.
I like it so much because for sure, just having that practical experience there really helps you understand the need of why you need to have a very diverse, perspectives of stakeholders, really speaking, during your co-design session, right? And also having those participatory methods, because at the end of the day, if it's very stiff, right, you'd find that maybe you'd find that maybe people are not that open
yeah.
to tell you. But once it's engaging, once it's fun, you know, we try to incorporate very real experiences. It's exciting, it's fun, and it's something that they can actually speak in whatever language that they want to, right? Something that makes them really speak their own lived experience. And once we are there, we are capturing all that to really look at, okay, so what can we learn more about the problem? You know, we've not even gotten into the solution phase. It's just what can we learn more about the problem that we are trying to solve.
Yeah, that's quite crucial, especially. So maybe we jump into the solution. Yeah, so maybe how can the second part is how can we integrate co-design within the solution? I think two ways in my head. So the first one is developing the solution itself.
Yeah.
So in your experience, how are the co-design sessions, especially in developing the solutions?
The solutions.
Yeah. How did it go?
Yeah. So I remember, especially, let's just stick to the breastfeeding moms project that I worked on, or we worked on with my other colleagues. One thing is that, okay, so we got diverse perspective. And based on those diverse perspectives, we tried to really create solutions that were rapid, number one, because we didn't have a lot of time, and also ensuring that we have efficient use of the resources that we had at that time. So based on what we were hearing, we tried to ideate. When I say tried to ideate, we did some brainstorming sessions. We did storyboarding. You know, these are some of the methodologies that you can use to really help you ideate and get those creative juices flowing, right? And with all this, it was really to help us. Okay, so what could the solutions look like? Yes, we understand the problem. Yeah, what do these solutions look like? And the thing that one came is that no, we couldn't take all solutions to the field to test them out. You know, because we really needed to go back to our mothers, to the stakeholders, to see do these solutions work for you, because we needed to test. So we had to create low-fidelity model. So a low-fidelity prototype or a low-fidelity model solution was just, you know, a very basic solution that can, you just have it like the first phase, you know, if you've had this problem, okay, so what kind of solution can you create? So for us, we had like our three best solutions, and we said that we'll want to take them and to the mothers and also just get feedback to see what really works for them. So one thing I know we really thought of was having like a milk delivery kind of thing, boda for those who are in Kenya, and also East Africa, you know, boda the bikes, right? So you're like, the mom can pump in the office, and then we have a bike that takes the milk home. You know, another solution was like, okay, because, you know, when we go, we notice that mothers, when they go to maybe events and they have their infant, they have like a shawl that they cover themselves while breastfeeding. So he thought, maybe we can have like a retractable small tent where the mom can go in the office. We can have it for the office where he can just attach it to the desk and then just like pump, do her thing, and then have the milk ready and store the milk. Because the assumption was she has already left milk in the morning. So while she's having in the afternoon, she can just pump, store the milk in the fridge, the company's fridge, and then she can go with it at home. But when we went back to our different stakeholders, number one, you know, the mother's like, no, I don't even trust giving my milk to a boda person because of the sanitary issues that are there, you know, that come up. But in our heads, we didn't even think of that. We're like, we have deliveries, food deliveries. Why can't this be part of it? Yeah. So they gave us that feedback, and clearly we're like, okay, so this will not be as accepted, you know. And it's not that we went and had a boda rider and all. We just told a story. Imagine this, a scenario. You're in the office, you're pumping, you go get, and they're like, no, we can't do this. Also, you're like, what about this other solution that we had of a retractable tent? And they're like, no, it'll have a lot of attention to me. So people will know what I'm doing, you know. So one thing that helped us is that we had created some ideas, right? Prototyped them. We drew some on paper. We told a story in some, right? We didn't even have to make physical prototypes, right? And with this, we went back quickly to to our community, the different stakeholders, and they gave us their feedback. And based on that feedback, we continued iterating. And the long and short story of this, especially with this particular research, was that we thought that we would want, for us, we were coming in to provide a solution that will help the moms take their milk to their infants at home while they're working. But at the tail end, we discovered that moms only just wanted community to support them. During that 6-month period, it was not a physical kind of product that they needed, but they wanted a social product, a social service, if you can say, community with other mothers, where they can talk about some of the struggles that they are going through, and this will really benefit them. So turning the ideas, after co-design, we have ideas that come in, after we've defined our problem, after we've looked at our opportunity areas, we have ideas that come in. We need to go back, with these ideas, rapidly prototype them, right? Learn, get feedback. And that's why we say we do not really need to really hold on to our ideas that deeply, because at the end of the day, you might think that this is the best thing that ever happened, but the person that you are, you're designing with is like, I can't do something like this.
Them,
So getting that feedback and just shooting down ideas that don't really work or don't really stick, right? And now ensuring, and that comes into when you're testing your prototype, and ensuring that you're getting, now that iterative process, you're getting feedback. It's not linear. You're getting feedback. So you're also empathizing, at the same time improving your product or your service that you'd want to give the community that you're working with.
Yeah, I think that's quite crucial, because when most people think about solutions, they have this best idea which they have in mind, and they want to give it to the world. And I think the low-fidelity prototypes, what it means is basically something that will give the user, or rather the person that you hope to use that product or service, an idea of
what is happening.
Or rather how will it work out for them, and you get feedback from them. And by low fidelity, it means it should be low cost aspect. Low cost but fast to fail as well, or pick it up as well. So basically, I think that's the idea. And the low fidelity prototypes, it can look like, I think you have mentioned, drawings, for example. You sketch something and give a user and ask them, what do you think about this? It can be also stories, as you have mentioned, storyboarding. And I think that's the next one which I'll go to in terms of participatory, because also stories can be used within those sessions of co-design sessions. So in terms of stories, especially how do we bring out these stories to them? One, I think there is the stories which people with lived experience tell the rest of the participants, especially for them to understand where they are coming from. So I recall once I was talking to our impact communication person, and I was mentioning stories is the oldest form of education or pass of knowledge for generations, especially when we think about Africa in itself, or rather Kenya in itself. Stories are one of the oldest, and it's funny that it's not most incorporated within researches as well, because it's the ones that passes information, it's the one that captures an attention of a person as well. So having the people with lived experience sharing their story within those sessions as well, but also sometimes we might be having a sensitive issue or rather, for example, if we are dealing with sensitive stories, for example, we are dealing with another project that was covering people who had incontinence, so it was a bit sensitive in some way. So in that session, we did not want people to sell, because they wouldn't tell their stories. but we created fictional stories using scenarios, which I call scenario-based stories.
Yeah.
So scenario-based stories is quite good, especially when we are dealing with a sensitive issue, which it's a taboo or people are afraid to come out well, but it will give people the context of what is really happening within the field, and also they can relate to that, and also we can get what they think we should do anyway. So that's one. And the second scenario-based issue that we are looking at is especially the future.
Yeah.
How do we think about how will things pan out? Because when you have an idea, especially after you have done the low fidelity, sometimes you might bring back the co-design session to think of how will this solution look like maybe in 10 years. So you create like a good case scenario, worst case scenario, status quo. And also within that session, we use that in the sanitary project which we are doing. So people are thinking in terms of the best case scenario, building up how will it look like, what should we do to ensure that we are in the best case. And even the worst case is how did we reach there at first? And maybe what should we not do so that we don't reach there. So this will give us signals to look for, especially for us to prepare, because we need to have adaptiveness, especially for programs. That can give us signals which we can look for in terms of are we towards the good case, are we towards the worst case, are we still in status quo? So basically these signals, and what the signals can offer for us is basically we can easily brainstorm on how do we move towards the best case which you are looking forward to. I think from that it is quite good. Maybe you can tell us more about stories, for example.
I think you've covered it quite well, and also the importance of it, and just the scenario basing that is there. I also know we can have also analogous inspiration, just going and looking for something that that is quite different, but still can speak to the problem or the issue that you'd want to discuss, right? Again, community building, for example, if it's that's the solution. How are the different communities, that are existing? Not necessarily in only the space that you want to solve for, but also in other spaces. I know one thing that we really looked at, and the reason why I love analogous experience to some extent, it's very divergent, right? You can think of a lot of things. It doesn't restrict you, right? So it can just be, how do we bring restaurant experience in a hospital? So you go to get and understand how the restaurant experience is, and then bring it to a hospital. I think there's a Danish hospital that won an award. If it's not it's a Danish hospital that won an award globally. And one of the things that they did, actually, even while they were receiving the awards and also giving their story, was that they used analogous experience to really create a hospitable space for kids, because it's a kids' hospital, for kids, for them to feel like they're not in hospital per se, but also they are experiencing and growing with other kids around. So it's like a playroom, what is on the wall, it's quite engaging. The kids do not really feel like they're in hospital. But one of the things that said that it really stood out for them was they used the airplane experience, to bring it to hospital. Again, to ensure that they are making something really cozy for the children. If we get it, I'll just also attach it in the description box so that you can read. It's such a beautiful show of what analogous inspiration can do, number one, and how can that bring new, birth new solutions or birth new thinking, divergent thinking. Because, we always say we go wide and then we come together, we converge to ensure that, that this solution makes sense. Number one, is it impactful? Is it, right now we have a lot of technology. We have a very technologically advanced, we're in a very technologically advanced space. So does it incorporate technology, impact that is there? And also, does it speak to the human who we are actually designing for?
That's quite great. As we wind up, maybe we think of when can we do these code design sessions. Because I think it's quite crucial, because some people might think it's maybe when we are starting only, for example. And it's true. One time which we can do a code design session is when we are trying to understand the problem which we are facing. So it will assist you to first understand, or rather in the perspective of the users, to really understand what problem you are facing, as well as define a design opportunity which you can tackle for it later. So that's the first one. Second, I think, as you had mentioned from experience, is when you're designing for solutions. I think from that it's quite open, especially using, for example, the analogous inspiration. So when you're designing that solution, that's a very good opportunity for you to use a code design session as well. The third one, I think, when you're also implementing a solution. So this, you can always go back to people, because when you're designing, we can say you are iterating or prototyping. But when you have taken this airport experience to the hospital, you can always go back to the people you're serving first to understand whether it's efficient, because it might be costing too much money to the hospital. Whether
true.
It's effective as well, whether it's impactful, calling back the people attending the hospital and asking whether they are feeling any difference, whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's the experience itself, whether it's impactful for them as well. Then after implementing, I think also when you are evaluating, so when you're evaluating and you want to get especially ideas on how to improve it, for example, after a program is end and you want to get ideas of how do you take it to the next level, I think it's a good opportunity for you to incorporate code design aspect. And so in all those phases, in short, as a change maker, code design will help you in all your steps, because for most change makers, they respond to problems, they create solutions, and at some point they will sit down and reflect whether it's working or not. So basically, code design is a toolbox that needs to, or rather it's a tool that needs to be in your toolbox as a change maker. Awesome.
For me, it's just to end that. My final thoughts would be code design, like you said, is quite crucial, and just see it as leading with others. It's just collaboration, right? We're collaborating for us to have solutions that speak to us, number one, and also solutions that will be impactful and that will stick. And to just have those diverse experiences, the diverse voices into it. And I feel like if we embrace that collaborative spirit, because design is all about collaboration to some extent, majorly about collaboration. So if we have that collaborative spirit, we'll definitely create solutions that really stick, number one, and also see areas where we can improve, like you said, even in evaluation, right? Just giving that feedback and also constantly iterating and ensuring that we are solving our problems and also leading for impact.
Awesome. I will not dilute anything from that. So thank you for watching. Stay safe. Continue listening to us. Like, subscribe to the channel, watch the previous videos in case it's your first time, and leave a comment and tell us what it's working and what can we also include in what can we talk about in the next episode. I think that will be
that's code designing.
It will be quite crucial. And stay safe. Be beneath the impact. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Beneath the Impact, where we go beyond the numbers and narratives to uncover what really drives change. If today's conversation sparked a thought, shifted your perspective, or started a question, don't keep it to yourself. Share this episode, like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and join the conversation online. You can find us at beneath.the.impact on all socials. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep digging beneath the impact.